It's time for Sketchcraft, the show where I draw real late at night, never turn things in on time. Sketchcraft. Hashtag Sketchstrong. What's up, everybody? All right, let's fuck around with some of these brushes really quick before I get started, because I want to see something. Let me see. This might crash Photoshop, but we're gonna find out. So first thing I'm gonna do, go over here, turn the opacity down there, and just see. All right, now let's see if this crashes. I gotta send a bug report over to this guy. Because it's been crashing more often lately. For God knows what reason. Alright, so no difference. Okay. Sometimes even I forget how my brushes work. I gotta open up my Darksiders. Alright. Where the fuck? Alright, so let me take this. Duplicate. Flatten it. Do. Alright, and then we'll take this and do. Bum. 75%. And then we'll take the eraser and turn that down to 80 or so. And I'll start with the skull. Hey, can you chat, Kyle? Or are you too busy? Sure. I got it open, so good to go. Yo, what's up, Kyle?
I'm just procrastinating going to sleep.
Oh, well, take an Ambien. And then start tweeting. See what happens. Timely
I
jokes,
could
huh?
wake up president.
Yeah. In that case, I'm going to definitely get a golf cart that I get to drive you around in. I want the presidential golf cart. No, not Skeletor. Darksiders. Yeah, so I had a big deadline. I just turned in the preview issue for Megavisions magazine, so we can have that at E3 next in a week.
Nice.
So, and I've been drawing stuff for Toys for Bob all week, and so it was like, well, can't stream either one of these things. I mean, I could technically stream the Megavision stuff, but it's like I won't move fast, and speed is. When it comes to that stuff, man, speed really is everything, you know. So
Yeah.
you don't do a better job taking your time. You really don't. So.
What days are you down here for E3?
So I'm gonna come down Friday, and then I'll be there till the following Friday. Now Brandon's supposed to drive down Thursday night. So, cause here's the thing, dude. Like we couldn't get this magazine printed and shipped in time. So the way to do it is it's getting printed, and then Brandon's gonna pick up the fucking issues for me Friday, and then pick me up from the airport. Now I'm a little bit in a weird position right now because my cousin said I could chill at her place for the weekend until our Airbnb opens up Monday. But now she's MIA. Like, you like how that always happens, you know? You square that months in advance, and then all of a sudden you can't find them. So if
Yeah.
I don't hear shit from her, then I'm gonna start digging around for. I'll try. I'll check with the Airbnb I'm already attached to and see if I can't just pick up the weekend dates. And if not, then I'll find something, you know.
Yeah.
So whatever.
Well, I'll be here Friday. Then I'm going to Portland for 2 days and Seattle for 2 days. And I come back on Wednesday the 13th.
Well, if you
So,
want to grab dinner Friday night, you can go with me and Brandon.
yeah, man, we should do that.
Yeah. So
Sounds good to me.
figure out what that is. Maybe. Do you have a particular favorite spot, or do I need
I
to
don't.
find something?
I don't eat out.
Yeah, you're a Chipotle guy. I don't want
Nah.
to eat out, but I want to find something decent if I'm gonna break my diet. You know, break my
Yeah.
fucking diet for a goddamn Chipotle burrito. I don't think so. You know, I mean, I've done it before. You've been there, but it was not worth it. You know, I can assure you.
So E3 starts on the Monday, the
It
11th?
actually starts Tuesday. Pre-registration for press is Monday.
Okay.
So they get in Monday. Then where it's about a 10-minute walk to the Staples Center. We had one right across the street. We paid for almost 2 months in advance, and the fucking assholes canceled it on us like 2 weeks ago. You know, I'm like, thanks, dude. You know. So we found one other place that was really only supposed to be a single bedroom, but they have this whole upstairs loft. You know. And she's like, yeah. So the guy talked to her about it, and she's like, that's fine. They got a pool and shit, so that's nice. You know. It's a nice little pad. It's not like a janky place, you know.
Yeah.
But the person
And
who
it's
owns the
just
place is
a bad
there.
walk.
Yeah. So they're like, well, sometimes they talk to you. I'm like, I can talk to people. I don't, you know, shoot this shit with. I don't care. You never know who you meet, you know.
Yeah. Might run into like James Cameron's nephew. Be like, yeah, man. Let's go hang out on the Avatar set.
Like, take me down to the ocean. And they're shooting this shit in 3D underwater. Not pretending to be underwater, actually underwater. They got
That sounds like
mocap
some
rigs.
entertainment.
Yeah, they got mocap rigs that work underwater. Yeah. At least someone's pushing the boundaries, you know?
Yeah. Did you see Solo?
Yeah, I saw it, dude. It's a fun movie. It really needs some
Yeah.
smarter writing, though. You know, there's just some glaring bits where you're like, you know, like two things. Like, and despite no, look, I want to move. I've always wanted a movie with no lightsabers. Rogue One was close. This almost had it. One scene, you're like, God damn, almost got there. But I always knew like a Star Wars movie with very little to no force was going to be a tough sell for people. You know, so I never thought they'd make one. And I'm talking about like my thoughts going like to the mid '90s when I used to play the role playing game and read all the books before the special editions, right? Before that time. So like with this movie, like two things, dude. So one, the Kessel Run was always like sold to me as a race of some sort, you know, or kind of like Smokey and the Bandit, like it's a smuggler strip kind of thing, you know.
Hmm.
So the fact that it wasn't a legitimate like we're making the run, you know, like eastbound and down, do do do, you know, in space, was like disappointing because I'm like, I've been saying this for a while. These new movies need those roller coaster moments, and it kind of don't have them.
Hmm.
You know, like the last Star Wars movie to kind of really have that was surprisingly enough the Phantom Menace with the pod race. You know,
Yeah.
but the original Star Wars had the trench run, and then Empire had the snow speeders. You know, where you're low to the ground, and then the speeder bikes. You know, and Jedi. Like they need more of those moments, and I thought the Kessel Run would have been a great kind of like it's a mad world, but more serious, you know, more violent than the pod race, you know, a smuggler's version of it. I don't know. So it's kind of like whatever, you know. I'm not gonna judge a movie what it didn't have, but it would have been. Then the thing that did kind of bug me was the villains at the end. I was like, look, man, if they spoilers, folks, but you know, if they kill a bunch of my friends, I'm not hanging out with these people. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand. All their friends got waxed by these people, and they're like, "We gotta help them." I'm like, "I ain't helping shit," you know. So I didn't really buy that part. Other than that, it was a fun movie, man. You know? I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I was not expecting to enjoy it.
Well, blame
Uh,
marketing, man. You know, marketing was
yeah. And
horrible.
it wasn't even all marketing's fault. It was like part of it was the internet's fault for like all those rumors about hiring an acting coach because they're like, oh, he can't act. It's gonna be really bad.
But Collider had a good point on this today on the Jedi Council. They said that's a communication problem, and that's a communication problem from Iger on down. Like they're allowing the rumors to dictate the conversation about these films, and they need to come out in front of that shit and stop it. You know,
Yeah.
like if they know they're in a special position with Star Wars that very few films have, if any. You know, like very few. I mean, not even all the Marvel films get like this, right? Like it's just a few select ones. So it's like when they're in that kind of position, then they got to come out there and be like, you know, hey, dude, you know, what I mean, like they're just like, oh, we'll just be quiet and you know, if we'll ignore it, no one will care. Like, no, man, then it becomes this giant fucking, you know, cloud of things. Well, I heard this, and the only thing you should be hearing is whether it was a great movie or not. Not all this fucking. I mean, bro, you've been on sets, you know, all the weird shit that goes down. You know,
Hmm.
like this is a PR problem, big time, and they gotta nip it.
Yeah.
You know. They'll figure it out or they won't. I mean, I don't know. It's their billions of dollars. You know?
Yeah. I hadn't even. I didn't even think about there not being any lightsabers
Yeah.
except for one, which is completely unnecessary.
Well, not
He's like
from what I'm told
he's like
that.
talking, and he's like, "I'm just going to turn my lightsaber on, and then I'm going to turn it off because for no reason."
Well, from what I'm
Just
told is
seemed very unnecessary.
no one knew who that was until he did it, like in
What?
test screenings and stuff. Yeah, yeah. And then it brought up, yeah. So it's just like whatever, you know. So
Yeah, I I had at least one friend who was like so confused by when the timeline takes place because he's like, "Wait, Han Solo's not like super old, but this has to take place before Episode 1 because." I was like, "Nah, nah, nah, nah.
well, all they had to
The
do in
current
that
like
opening bit, man, is say
cartoons."
10 years before the Death Star got destroyed. You know what I mean? Da, 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 da. They could just come right. I mean, they're trying to like set up who you're like. You're not gonna know who Han Solo is with that crawl kind of thing. Like they did that opening bit where they write up some stuff, right? It's not really a crawl. And they're like, the galaxy's at war, da 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 da, looking for hyperfuel, Lady Proxima. Like, don't mention a character we're never gonna fucking see. Just clearly say it's 10 years before this. You know what I mean? Here's how some shit went down. Like, just find a fucking easy way to set the fucking timeline.
Yeah,
Again, that's a
well,
communication problem. I mean, the writing, like,
I think most people assumed it was about that timeline, but then the mystery reveal at the end that unless you watch the cartoon, you're like, wait, this guy only exists in this particular point in time, which is pre-Episode 1.
well, that's another problem where people go, look, some of the fans, look, we both know if you work on Star Wars, you're kind of fucked. All right?
Yeah,
So it's a matter of which kind of fucking you want to get because, well, one thing, if you don't, like one of the big complaints about the newer films, like, well, they never mention things in the cartoons and the books, and what's the point of all this stuff being connected if they're not gonna, they should have that inside stuff for fans. So then they throw the inside stuff for fans. People go, but you only would know that if you read the books. And I'm like, all right. Like it's not a major plot point. It's a little fucking thing. And if it throws you off, you'll figure it out. Maybe you'll watch a cartoon you never watched before, learn a few things. And if not, then you shrug it off, you move on. It didn't really matter. I'm with him on that one. Like, look, I really think like now should have had that character played a more pivotal like catalyst. You know what I mean? Like, possibly. It has an antagonist problem. The film, right? Like you kind of don't know who are we running from, who's the bad guy, what's going on here. And in some levels, you're like, well, when you're dealing with thugs and thieves, when you don't know who is the bad guy. I'm like, yes and no. There's the bad guys, and then there's the worser bad guys. Like, we've watched Heat. We've seen fucking all these kind of crime movies, The Departed, There's ways to do it. But that's where I'm like, look, people are demanding that Star Wars, it's not going to be enough to kind of just chuckle some stuff out, They're going to have to actually put together the best writers. Like, and it kind of gets back to my other point. Like, when The Last Jedi came out, they haven't really defined what a saga film is at this point. What does it mean to be a saga film? The episodes 7, 8, 9, 10 versus a non-saga film. Because episode 8 was fairly low key in terms of the action. It was fairly not a ton of stuff. But then Rogue One had all this action, right? And you're like, well,
I think it's right now saga films are not directly related to the Skywalker storyline. Like they don't involve any of the Skywalkers. But once 9 is out and that's done, it's like, well, all right, is everything a saga film after that?
I sort of feel like if it's called episode 8 or 9, it needs to be about the fate of the galaxy. Okay? Like Lord of the Rings proper. If it's side story shit, it's about individual character moments.
Yeah.
Does that make more sense? And I really think that gives them an opportunity to do an episode 8, where let's say you had episode 7, you're talking about Knights of Ren, you're talking about Kylo, and then in between 8 and 9, you can go do a Kylo Ren movie that furthers these individual characters, that sets up what happens next. And if you're like, well, people will know if you fucking accurately tell them. You know? Like, I'm sorry, marketing departments. You guys are making some money. Fucking describe it to people. You know?
Yeah.
People aren't as. They follow how many seasons of Game of Thrones? You know? How many seasons of Supernatural? Shit like that. They'll get it. And those who don't, well, then they don't get it. Not my fucking problem. You know? They'll still go see
Yeah.
it.
I mean, I I I don't think that's as much of an issue because I mean, Marvel gets away with that. Like, no, you got to go watch like 10 Marvel movies to understand what all the dynamics are in Infinity War. But
Yeah, what are
I'm
the
just saying,
Avengers
like,
movies? If the Avengers movies are going to be like, if you do an Avenger movie and it says Avengers and it's really a small character piece, that's going to piss people off.
yeah,
But don't do an Avengers movie every 4 movies like clockwork. Do an Avengers movie when there's some major fucking thing to do. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Some major fucking story to tell. Otherwise, make it the individual character movies. And they're trying to like kind of do that now, but rather than make these individual characters featuring characters that are created in the new films, they're featuring past characters, which like it's not really exciting people. Like if the movie was called Knights of Ren and it started with Darth Maul being cut in half, like remember the opening to Two Towers with Gandalf falling? If it was like that, and you find out that the guy who fucking put together the Knights of Ren was Darth Maul and shit like, you know what I mean? There's some epic fucking shit you can do. You know, you could show how they hunted down all the fucking new knights and shit, and corrupted fucking Kylo. And he ended up becoming the master of the Knights of Ren, and then it sets up, all this stuff that there's no time to do in a standard. The Saga film should be the coming together Avenger films, right? We're all together to save the universe kind of shit. We're in a
yeah,
galactic battle, and then you know, there's another case that they were making on Collider where they're like, hey, maybe this is what like the Disney's got that streaming service they're working on. Maybe these sorts of things would be better as streaming movies. And you could say, well, they would never release a streaming movie, but on streaming. But I'm like, well, Netflix makes like $1 billion+ a month. Like making a $300 million Star Wars film direct to streaming isn't going to hurt their bottom line if it signs up a gazillion fucking people to their streaming service.
yeah,
So, and it might be these kinds of, maybe the ones that go to the theaters are episodes 10, 11, 12, those kinds of things, the big event, and small character ones go straight to the Netflix thing or whatever they're doing, their streaming service. Disney Flicks, whatever you want to fucking call it. I don't know, Kyle, like that's the CEO's, I gotta make my art. Bob Iger needs to figure that shit out. you know what I mean? Like, it's not like I get to sit down and have lunch with these cats and give them my 2 cents. It's like I gotta go draw some. I gotta draw stuff.
stuff's not gonna draw itself, Rob.
I've been trying to find a way to get that to happen. It doesn't work out.
Yeah, you just gotta upgrade your Photoshop. The new version draws it all for you.
Yeah,
It's great.
yeah.
Did you see that guy who's doing the 4K 77 Star Wars, where he
No,
got a hold of like a original 35mm print and he's scanned the whole thing in 4K?
himself.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, he just released it like a week and a half ago or something.
I'm not big on the 4K
like,
thing, but yeah.
It's like at 85 gigs.
No,
Ridiculous.
no, thank you.
I downloaded it.
I know you did. Did you get a chance to check out The Matrix?
Yeah, I actually just I just watched it tonight.
What'd you think?
Looks great.
Yeah, it looks great.
I was really impressed with it. I couldn't find it anywhere in store, so I just ended up renting it from Redbox.
It's great.
Figured that'll tide me over until I can wait until Black Friday and pick it up for $15 or something.
I technically got mine for free, even though they wanted it for $30-something because I had a bunch of Amazon credit on my card.
Hmm.
So I was like, free Blu-ray. But I've been waiting so long for a proper transfer. You know, a lot of people think the DVD was a proper transfer. It wasn't. The movie didn't look that brown.
Yeah.
So, so I remember
Yeah, I
going.
thought they did a really good job with it. I was very impressed.
It's not overly lime. You know that fucking Rick and Morty lime green
Yeah.
that yeah. It's got more of a noir black and white with a green tint to it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fortunately, Redbox here in LA just started carrying 4K discs, so I was able to get that.
Yeah, we'll probably go see Infinity War again this weekend. And then I'll be done with movies until Incredibles.
Well, that's what, 2 weeks away?
Yeah, 2.5, something like that.
And we still have Mission Impossible
Yeah, looking
and
forward to that.
some Ant-Man.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I'll go see Ant-Man in like the matinees or something. I'm not paying IMAX money for Ant-Man. I was hoping they would have made better use of the 3D with the last one because, you know, the Biggie, Smalley. It's like, that'll be amazing, but they didn't really do anything unique with it. So I'm like, oh well. But I'll go see fucking Mission Impossible in IMAX, you know.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun.
I've been watching Handmaid's Tale.
Mm-hmm.
2 episodes left, and then I'm done.
And you've never seen Futurama.
Nope.
Hmm. Interesting.
I'm mostly just not watching it because otherwise you won't have anything
That's not true.
to
You
hold
haven't seen
over
The
me.
Abyss either. And you claim to be a sci-fi fan. That's
Well, I hold James Cameron responsible for not putting it out on a
it's
decent quality.
Fox. It's not that Fox owns the right to that distribution. It's got nothing to do with James Cameron. It's Fox has True Lies as well. You
Yeah,
know. So, yo, what's up,
I,
Psycho?
st- I still blame the James.
Blame the James.
Maybe one day they'll see fit to give us a quality home
Somehow we
video release of it.
somehow we all managed to watch it without 4K, Kyle. You know what I mean? When it came out and shit, somehow we all managed to watch it on shitty fucking full screen. Even, you know?
Yeah, I've I've waited this long, so I want it to be an experience when I watch it.
It's never gonna live up.
Now, see, it's not hyped up for me really. It's not like, oh, it's gonna be the greatest movie ever. It's just I didn't see it. And then
It's no Handmaid's Tale.
no, it's not. No, Psycho. The question is, what did Cameron not do? He didn't release his version of Abyss on Blu-ray.
That has nothing to do with him. That's Fox. 20th Century Fox. I don't think you've noticed anything, but they're kind of putting out a lot less content. They just canceled like 18 shows, and they've indefinitely postponed the New Mutants. I don't care what they say. Once this merger vote goes through, they're not putting money into anything right now, you know? Like, Avatar's probably being made solely because Disney has that relationship with Cameron. You know what I mean? Because they have the Avatar land and shit. So, like, they're continuing with that. But I have a feeling, dude, that if that didn't exist, funding for those films would be on hiatus right now. So,
Yeah. All I know is I'm gonna keep waiting because I think it was Comic-Con 2016. James Cameron said that they had done like a 4K scan of Abyss and
yeah.
remastered everything.
Well, you know who did a 4K scan of A New Hope? And they'd been sitting on it for God knows how many years? Look, if these movie studios knew what to do with releases, they wouldn't be losing money. They just don't know what to do. You know? I really feel like they're crimped by Walmart and these big box stores that don't really know what to do with those kinds of releases. You know, you used to have a lot of specialty stores like Laserdiscs and stuff and widescreen VHS tapes. You couldn't buy those at fucking Target or Montgomery Ward or Sears or Walmart in the 90s. You had to go to Suncoast Movie Company and Tower Records and shit like that. And there are no specialty places. There's just Amazon, you know? And they may only want to print like 1,000 or 10,000 or 20,000 copies. And they may only want to, you know, or some of those places used to pay for those releases. Like Suncoast probably used to foot the bill for some of those specialty releases. And there's no one to do that anymore. You know?
Well,
because they only, I mean, having I don't know about you, but having worked in major, like, okay, so like t-shirts, when you buy a t-shirt from like, let's say Mighty Fine, you buy a licensed Marvel shirt from Mighty Fine, okay? Those shirts only move in like 1,000 shirts, maybe 2,000. They will. I mean, if you sell under 5,000 shirts in a test at Walmart, they dump your shirt.
yeah.
You know, so it's like they want 50,000 sales, 30,000 sales, 100,000 sales. So like that's why these things don't get released because like, well, we can't sell 100,000. They shouldn't even be thinking about 100,000 fucking sales.
Well, I hate to burst your bubble, but I found a quote that I thought I had read when it was James Cameron. They asked him about True Lies and Abyss, and he said they're coming, but his quote is, "I'm working on that. The True Lies Blu-ray and Abyss Blu-ray have sort of fallen off my to-do list."
Yeah, why would he ever blame the people cutting his checks?
Well, he said it's because of his Avatar sequels.
That's what I would do. I would blame myself because that's the easiest solution. But the fact that if he went out and said right now, well, they won't release it because they don't think there's any money in it, you know, and they, you know, and like, I'm telling you right now what it is. There's a reason too. There's a lot of fucking things we don't get that do. Why can't I buy a version of Demolition Man on Blu-ray? That made a lot of money when it came out. You could say, well, yeah, well, it made a lot of money when it came out. But there's a lot of films, man, that are just disappearing. I mean, think about it. I just today, not today, last week, got a Blu-ray copy of The Matrix with proper fucking coloration. You know what I mean? Like, it's 2018. It's almost 20 years after the movie came out. And what? Like several years since the last Blu-ray, which was all fucked up. So it's like, sometimes, man, like it's weird how this works out. You know, I know they have a lot of it done because if you watch the opening to the documentary he did when he went to the Marianas Trench. You know, it's got sequences from the Abyss in 3D in there. You know, and it's like I would say I love those sequences. I'm like, oh, this is so amazing. You know, but these studios, man, they just don't know what the fuck to do. You know, they really don't. That's why you end up with 700 fucking copies of like Mall Cop, Paul Blart fucking, you know, but you can't get like a decent re-release of, you know, let's say a 4K transfer of the original RoboCop. You know, but that studio's footing what $1 billion for his movies. Of course, he isn't gonna throw them under the fucking bus. He blame himself. It's called smart, but it's not exactly the case.
Well, one way or another, that's what I'm waiting for.
I know.
After working on all your other art projects, do you find like it's kind of hard to get back into like the style that you were doing for this piece before, or
Only for like the first night, you know. So like last week was like a giant fucking colossal headache. Like I sat there for 4 hours just staring at my monitor, like I don't even know what the fuck I was attempting to do here, you know.
yeah,
So that's not a very productive night. I could have been playing a video game or sleeping. So, you know, what I try to do in those instances is start a 60-second podcast. That's why I made one. You'll see it's like me saying, "How do you get back into doing something?" Like, I don't know. You know. So the shapes are there. It's not like I've never been too bound by specific style, you know, or it's like, oh, this is how I draw now. I mean, so kind of, but not really with this. I mean, um, the bigger issue is I'm learning to draw with, I won't say looser lines, but with less super rendered lines, you know, and how to color that and make it work. And so then getting into a piece like this where I go and make it all detailed, I'm like, you know, this is really kind of pointless. So I wish I could just not do that, but I can't not do it halfway through the piece, you know? Doesn't,
yeah.
I mean, I can, I'll just have to accept the fucking hate. And what's the point of that? So I gotta go through and just find more efficient ways. I mean, I'm much more efficient. A lot of this stuff, man, like, it's so simple, but I've only learned how to do it through a lot of trial and error over the last couple of years in terms of like just this drawing style, like 80% brush, 80%. Like it seems easy or simple, but it kind of isn't, you know? It just takes like a while. I guess it's a training period, kind of like those guys who can cut onions really well on like MasterChef and stuff. Feels like that. Um,
I mean, cutting onions is a lot harder than it looks.
what I really want to make certain I'm not doing is drawing with too much resolution. I've really toned that back the last couple years. So each one of these is 3,000 by 4,000 pixels, which is more than enough. I've been drawing at 2,000 by 3,000 for a lot of stuff, but for a slightly more crisp line, 3000 by 4000 is enough. Used to be drawn at like 6000 by 10,000 pixels. It didn't produce a better result. So that little Lady Deadpool I drew over is 2000 by 3000 pixels. And I don't think anybody can fucking tell the difference, you know? So same with the Valkyrie cover I did. So the 3000 by 4000 to me should be more like for clients who want that cleaner line. And then 2000 by 3000 should be pretty much everything else. But I kind of can't go back halfway through this because they don't match up when you connect them. Yeah, when you connect them, they don't match. I tried. I looked at it. I did some tests. I'm like, well, that doesn't work. I'm always trying to find ways out of doing what I started. Yeah. So you're like, why didn't Rob stream tonight? Because he was spending 6 hours trying to find a way out of having to do that thing that he signed himself up to do. Realized there's no way to do it without pissing off a bunch of people. Gave up and just got to work, you know?
I'm guessing you saw Deadpool 2?
Yeah, I saw it. It was fun. It's not as good as the first movie. I liken it to Austin Powers 2 versus Austin Powers 1. Like, it's got some funnier laughs, but a lot of retreaded jokes and no core story that, and kind of like goes back on a few things that the first movie set up. So, but it's fun, you know, if you just want to go have a good time, not really.
Yeah, I liked it. But I don't really have any desire to see it again.
Ever again.
Yeah.
Ever again. You know, like, alright.
It was Solo, I saw it, and then like one of my friends the other day was like, want to go see Solo? I was like, sure. And it was just as fun the second time around.
Well, there's an actual story. The story in Deadpool's not good. It's not good. It doesn't even
No,
make any
it's
sense.
not.
It's a collection of ideas that if you sat in a writer's room, like, I'm like, here's the central thing, right? You have a future that's all fucked up. Cable has to come back and stop Deadpool for some reason, or someone connected to him, one of these X-Men. It could be just simply tied to the fact that Deadpool gets put in charge of fucking the delinquents, the X-flunks, right? Like Breakfast Club, the Exfist Club or whatever, you know, on the weekends, all the reject fucking mutants, they put him in charge. And he ends up having a negative effect on him to the point where in the future, he's their hero, not the real X-Men. And they fuck up the whole future. You know? Like his brand of, it doesn't do things well. Like there could be a story there, but there isn't any story.
No.
You know? So it's a shame. It really does show you the influence Tim Miller had, though. So makes me more excited for Terminator 3.
Wait, is another Terminator 3?
Tim Miller. It's actually called Terminator 3. So he's writing and directing. Cameron's producing. They got the writer from Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Oh
And
yeah,
yeah.
this is one that is just basically pretending
Yeah.
only 1 and 2 exist.
Like, remember what Aliens 5 was supposed to do? And they didn't let him make the movie? They went with Prometheus 2 instead. It was going to ignore the events of anything past Aliens 2 and move forward with that timeline with Sigourney and Michael Biehn and all those characters. So that's what they're doing. They're just saying, none of that shit happened. But Tim Miller, I don't know if you've ever watched any of that guy's commercials for like the Arkham games. They're always story based. Always story based. So he did a 45-second commercial once with Bruce Wayne getting his face beat. And it starts with being like, his parents dying, being bullied, all the way through to him being Batman, Like, and finally, like, being the guy slamming faces and stuff. And it was like, you could see the way he, like, the way he did the montages in the first one, like Captain Deadpool, and he's like becoming Deadpool with the white uniform. And like, it tells a story even through those montages. Doesn't exist in this movie. So seems to be really good at that. What was it? Yeah, me too. But Fox was like, no, we'll let Ridley make whatever the fuck Alien Covenant was. Still don't know what it was. Trying to get. Why was it even called Alien?
So bad.
Why was it? Why didn't it just call it Covenant? Prometheus 2, Covenant. It's got nothing to. I don't fucking know, man. Dumb. He's like, well, the alien films need to get.
We have new Predator movie coming out.
I didn't think it could get worse. I was like, they should have named this Kids versus Predators, and really fuck with people. That Predator trailer is the worst. That is the worst trailer I've seen for a film since what movie last year had a pretty bad trailer too? What was it? Oh gosh, it's on the tip of my tongue. That some movie had an equally bad, but yeah, that Predator trailer is fucking horrible, man. It's not good.
Yeah, I had no idea they're even making a new Predator movie until I saw that trailer. I'm like, well, this is why I haven't heard about it, because they probably don't want to spread the word that it's coming out.
People in the theater laughed. People in the theater were laughing when they saw Keegan. When they saw Keegan pop up, people thought it was a comedy. Like, oh yeah, ha ha. Like, I'm like, no, it's not a comedy. Like, yeah, urban bullshit. To Catch a Predator, ha ha ha. Like, it's just so fucking. It really feels so. Shane Black co-wrote Monster Squad. Did you ever see that?
No.
So Monster Squad was like a Goonies style movie made in the mid to late 80s, and it was about all the monsters got together. The Universal monsters, Dracula, the Wolfman, Creature from the Black Lagoon, the Mummy. They all get basically dropped on this one town. And these kids got to like team up and fight all these monsters, right? And Frankenstein kind of helps them. Seems to me, Shane Black was so Fred Decker co-wrote Monster Squad with Shane Black, and Fred Decker directed it. Fred Decker helped co-wrote this film with Shane Black. And I know for a while they've been trying to make a sequel to Monster Squad. And I just get the feeling, dude, that this movie was the premise of taking what if we took DNA from all the monsters and combined them to make them the ultimate dun 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 Predator, right? Like, and it's got like parts of the, because you look at the Predator, it's got Creature from the Black Lagoon skin, it's got Wolfman like fangs, it's got hunts at night and eats blood like Dracula. It's got the strength of Frankenstein. Like I'm like, you know, I got this weird fucking feeling, Kyle. Like in that context, this kind of starts to make a lot of stupid sense, right? No one's thought about this. And I've been thinking about making a video about it, explaining it, so I could kind of put it out there, but kind of makes sense. And it's not good. I'm not impressed, but yeah, I sort of feel like that's what it is. I'll tell you what equally played poorly in the theater as a trailer, Venom. That did not do well in the theater. That really looked like a 90s style.
It also doesn't do well at home.
And the voice he's got on there, man, I don't know what that is. You know, you're kind of thinking something, and maybe you're gonna kind of get me. We ain't like that too much. Like I'm like, what is this fucking? What year is this? Tom Hardy needs to stop doing funny voices. You know, like it was enough with Bane. Like just do Tom Hardy voice. And everyone's so anxious to see Fangs.
Talk about a movie I'm not excited to see.
And they got like that symbiote. First off, she has to. Why does she symbiote? Yeah, like why is she saying it? Have you ever heard anyone? It's a symbiote. It's always been a symbiote. There's a whole nother movie with Venom in it where they even call it a symbiote. What's with symbiote? Sounds like she's saying yolk, like symbiote. And this is with the symbiote.
Yeah.
She says it twice. It's like what the fuck? I feel like no one here even bothered to fucking pick up one comic, watch Spider-Man 3. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like any Spider-Man cartoon with Venom in it. There's a gazillion of them.
Or, you know,
Ask some of the right
to science class.
Symbiote. Your favorite actress, Olivia Munn, right? Isn't she in it?
I don't know. Is she?
Yeah, she's in it. I think she is.
Right.
Maybe she's in. No, maybe she's in Predator. I'm sorry.
No, it's Megan Fox that's in.
Symbiote, Symbi cream of wheat. It's a symbiote. So dumb. And when that suit comes out of his chest and back, it looks weird.
I'd say like the Venom like full suit reveal at the end should have been a cool moment. Not a cool moment at all.
Like,
what is this?
Yeah, it doesn't look. I don't know, guys. You know what I mean? I pray it's a good movie. Truly, I do. You know, because I have friends who like live or die on licensed goods from these films. You know, and I don't want to see them have a tough year. And you know, a fun comic book movie is always a fun comic book movie. And there's a grip of this film we haven't seen yet. Woody Harrelson's in it and a bunch of other shit. So, but I gotta be honest, man. Like it reeks of Tim Rothman, who used to be the head of Fox. He's the one who said giant. He's the one that made certain Sentinels weren't in X-Men 2 because he said giant robots are stupid and will never sell, quote unquote. You know, and then 5 years later, Transformers comes out. I know. They finally fired his ass a few years back, and now when Amy Pascal got thrown out, they brought him in because in Hollywood people fail upward, and this looks like a Tim Rothman. That's what when you're like,
can I fail upward?
I know, right? Well, you're not really in Hollywood, right? You're in the slums. You're like in Reseda, right? You're like Cobra Kai in it.
In that direction.
You're like in a dirt mall, right next to Hollywood.
It's called a trailer park.
It's called.
Let's go to the dirt mall, kids.
You got to go work on some of those. You should hit up McFarlane. He needs a good DP. He's really gonna need one, Kyle. He should.
I don't think I can save his casting.
Hey, man, I disagree with that. I'm not saying whatever about Al Simmons, but Jamie Foxx was quite the villain in Baby Driver. So clearly he can act if properly directed. Right? Everybody in Spider-Man 2 sucked. Even Paul Giamatti. Am I going to shit on Paul Giamatti? I mean, that is like the worst Russian accent in the history of cinema. It's the Dick Van Dyke of Russian accents. You know? Nobody was good in that movie. But he was quite good in Baby Driver. Jamie Foxx. So, but yeah, he's more of a wise ass, than a serious character, right? So it's a shame.
Maybe he'll surprise me. I don't picture him as like a ex-military.
Well, you're never gonna have to deal with that because the movie's not gonna deal with that. The movie's got nothing to do with the military or Spawn's origin or any of that stuff.
Well, I mean, I know that I know he's planning on just jumping straight into like deep into the story. It's not an origin thing, but just knowing Spawn's origin, that he's like this military guy.
I don't even know what that means.
comes
You
with
never,
his-
so you should see the losers I knew in the military. You're assuming everyone in the military, even in special forces, is some kind of genius. There's a lot of fucktards, bro. This day we gotta respect our military. Well, I was there, and I'm telling you, there's a lot of fucktards. There's a guy that said, this guy is in the military that just sit there while they grab their balls, talk to you. And I'm not talking just like low-level fucking infantry dudes. I'm talking grown fucking adults, Not everyone is, That being said, who they cast as Twitch, I'm more interested in because that's going to be the majority of the movie. Might as well just call it Twitch. It's not really a Spawn movie, so. Although with his mustache, he might have played a good Twitch. It'd be a role reversal, but
What if he plays both roles?
that would be funny. Like, what if he plays all the roles? Like,
That'd be amazing.
like Eddie Murphy and the Clumps and shit, but it's like everyone in Spawn is Jamie Foxx. He probably could do it. Plays the Violator, plays Angela, puts on the wig. When you line up to watch, hey guys, here's my thing about Spawn, right? Is it the kind of Spawn movie I've always wanted? No. But I've been thinking about this a lot because I sit in my room. Right? I don't know if you've noticed this. I sit here a lot. Yeah, and I have nothing better to do. It is a movie. It's a comic book movie that's being written by the creator of the character, directed by the creator of the character, co-financed by the creator of the character. All the licensing goods, all the toys and t-shirts are going to be done by the creator of the character. The casting's being done by the creator of the character. I mean, you gotta admit, in terms of the promise of the 90s and self-determination with creators' rights, that dude is walking the walk.
Yeah.
He's walking it. He's doing what none of them have done. None of them. Everyone sold their characters except Silvestri and Larson. And none of them have done this.
There's a
So,
Blazer.
and he's never gone back to work for Marvel. And you don't see him taking pictures of himself with all the fucking Venom merchandise. This is my character, created Venom 30 years ago. You don't see that bullshit. Every fucking day. Like some other people we know. They don't play much with their friend. Well, it's his shit. Look, I always found Capullo to be the better artist. Not at first. At first, Capullo was more of a Jim Lee kind of style artist. Those first few issues he did, where Grant Morrison wrote. But by issue like 26, 27, 28, around there, man, like it was evident. Like, this fucking dude can draw. And then I just spent the entire 90s telling my friends that the best comic book artist in the business was the guy that drew Spawn. And they're like, fuck you. Who? Never heard of him. Now everyone wants to tell me about how great Capullo is. I'm like, where were you fucking 30 years ago? 20 years ago, Venom was a contest winner? No, McFarlane drew him. It's actually based off the Violator, because he drew Spawn and the Violator in high school. And so he just made... That's what when he drew the Violator, like, looks like Venom's face. I'm like, actually, it's the other way around. It's funny, man.
I read an interesting article about the evolution of Venom's tongue. So it kind of followed the whole development of Venom and all the different artists who drew him. And
Well, it always had the alien influence to it, you know?
yeah,
There was a lot of that alien influence at Marvel, like with the Brood, you know, on the X-Men, and Venom was another version of that. Especially after Aliens, too, you know? Another Cameron influence, whether you like it or not, bitches! You know, like... I mean, Cable, straight up, you know, to Terminator, you know?
if the Terminator had more pouches and shoulder pads.
Did you see that new character Kleinfeld's doing, the pouch? He's made up entirely of pouches. His face, everything. The guns pouches. It's pretty clever. I'll give him credit on that one. That's pretty good. It's ridiculous, but I think it fits. I'll probably pick that up. It's my kind of shit. Yeah, I like it. I like fun stuff, man. Dude, Capullo just did this Swamp Thing fucking cover. It's super Spanish, man, but it looks fucking dope as shit. I'm like, well, guess I'm buying Swamp Thing now. You know? It's the power of a great artist, man. Get me right on board. Alright, so let's take this, right? And we'll just duplicate that to make the line stronger and merge down. And I need to... The only thing about Spawn that like bugged me at the time was that to me like wasn't so much supposed to be like a character. The way it came across to me was that it was like these different. It was called Spawn for a reason because there's different generals who are Hellspawn. So this guy could last 5 issues, 12 issues, you know, 2 issues, and you get a new Spawn. Kind of like a cross between the Crows. It was the way you don't have to worry about a character who has to survive 100 issues, because how many fucking characters can really do that? And that didn't happen. It was like, wow, 100 issues later, it's still Al Simmons. I mean, really? You know? It's a shame, because it would have been great to have, like, that character have a run through 12 issues, 10 issues. You know, then maybe, you know, you get a lot of these tragic dudes who end up being put in a position of power, and you see how they react, good or bad. But didn't really happen that way.
Do we know who's writing the Swamp Thing?
No, I think it's like a Justice League Dark thing, I think. So, but I know he wants to do specifically a Swamp Thing deal, and he has one more Batman book he's contracted for, so I think he's going to do Swamp Thing after he's done with the Batman, which might be like a Justice League Dark. However, he managed to work it in, you know, so they put Swamp Thing in there, the Batman's in there, and then I'm certain if he goes to fucking do Swamp Thing, it'll be written by Scott Snyder. I mean, that's who he seems to be working with, you know?
Yeah, it's just Scott's already done a Swamp Thing run, so I didn't know if they'd be like, all right, we're going to bring him back again.
Have characters be spawned, ultimately fail, and yeah, another one shows up. I mean, look, if I could sit down right now and pitch Todd a Spawn story arc, I mean, I got one ready to go, you know? I've been thinking about it for years. I mean, they don't deal with hell on other planets, you know? And like, I would love a story that jumps between cosmic Spawn. You know what I mean? Like, let's go show what heaven and hell are, and the battles of Armageddon take place on other worlds. Get the fuck off this planet. There's other shit to do. You could be places where planets where hell's won, you know, and planets where the angels have won, and It'd be really great to show a new angel show up, something maybe like name her Halo or something like that. Give her some of those fucking angel names and whack some fucking spawns on different planets and shit. Like, I have a love for this stuff, Kyle. I don't know why. Not a lot of people care, but I do. I care. Too much. I used to have this Angela promotional poster when the first series came out. I got it at ImageCon in '94, and my buddy stole it when I joined the army. Well, guess what Rob found on eBay? And it has arrived. Yeah, but Spawn ultimately should be tragic stories. You know, when people are presented with decisions and they make poor choices, even if they're made for right reasons. You know? And then what do you do when you're stuck with... What happens if a Spawn shows up in your neighborhood and it's a total murderous asshole? Like, how do you fight? There could be different viewpoints to deal with that. I don't know, man, dude. You know, whatever. It'll never be that. So, we'll see. I'll be there opening night, though, because one way or the other, it's going to be fun to watch. If it's a great movie, wow, that was great. If it's fucking horrible, holy shit. You know? They let them do it.
It's interesting that they're aiming for like the 10 to 15 million-dollar budget. So, I mean, it'll make its money back pretty much, no matter how bad it is.
You say that, man, but they didn't spend that much on the spirit. It didn't make that much either. So who knows? You know, it's up to marketing. But I mean, Blumhouse, you know, I mean, they seem to market things fairly well. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I did not expect Al Simmons to be the main character for 100 fucking books. I was like, really? As the years, I collected straight through issues 100, and then I stepped back, and then when I saw the artwork Medina was putting out, I went back and picked up. I think he did 20 issues, and then they moved to Brian Haberlin as the artist, and I stopped caring because I don't give a shit for that fucking realistic art. I just outright disliked the look of it on any level. Came back when Capullo did a few issues, and then Kerry Randolph did an issue, which was good. Good art. I mean, if I had the fucking money, I'd be like, Todd, just pay Angel Medina to draw this book since Capullo's busy forever. But I think that'll falling out or something.
I do like, was it Jason Sean Alexander doing it? Yeah, I think.
I don't know who the current artist is. I don't stay up on it.
Yeah, I think the guy doing it right now is Jason Sean Alexander. His stuff's kind of cool.
If it's that urban stuff you're talking about, wasn't the big fan. That
Nah.
gritty, realistic urban thing. I'll go look at it.
Yeah.
I'll look at it right
Yeah,
now.
that's a style.
Yeah, not a fan. But that's art, dude. Art is like subjective. I mean, it truly is, you know. And it either works for people or doesn't. That's basically it. I only say something's poorly drawn when something's legitimately poorly drawn. And the Haberlin stuff was really poorly drawn. It was not. It was not a good period to be a Spawn fan. Yeah, the covers look cool. I can't see any interiors on the main page. Why would they not put interior examples?
Yeah,
Something.
a lot of his like painting art reminds me a bit of like uh, Kent Williams kind of stuff. And maybe a little of like Sienkiewicz.
Hmm.
But like his interior stuff is a lot. It almost has like sort of a spray painty look to some of the stuff.
Oh, their fucking
Yeah,
website's a pain in the ass.
I haven't been reading. Like I haven't read Spawn since the '90s, but uh, I follow Jason Sean Alexander on Instagram, so that's how I knew he did Spawn's interiors.
Hmm. Yeah, he's a good artist. I'm not, it's back to that. Not quite my
It's
thing.
just not really your style.
Yeah, not my thing, man.
Nothing wrong with that.
But I can respect it. The guy's actually putting out the effort. But if you go back and look at those Haberlin issues, it's not good, man. It's really bad. So. Yeah, the first few, I think it's the first 6 issues of the Sam and Twitch comic Bendis wrote before Bendis went to Marvel. Like Todd had picked him up because of the Torso comic. And Todd was trying to produce a Torso movie at the time. And so Medina drew those issues. So the first 6 issues of the Sam and Twitch comic, very good. Very good writing, very good art. One of those underrated gems. Ashley Wood did the covers. I hate these fucking buckles. I don't think they make any fucking kind of sense. The way they're built and the armor is weird things. Just a shape on top of a shape for no fucking reason, but whatever.
You got a trade show. I think I have to go.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
My internet cut out for a second there.
Oh.
I was just saying I think I go to sleep because I have a trade show I think I'm going to tomorrow. Check out film equipment.
Yeah, sure. Well, thanks for hanging out. And then,
I'll catch you.
yeah, I'll keep you in the loop on Friday as well. So we'll arrange all that.
Sounds good.
All right, man. Peace. Looks like Mega Tear. Possibly. Hey, what's up, dude? God damn it. Sort of. I mean, it's a remake. The true original Pokemon game doesn't come out till next year. Yeah, I mean it's cool, you know. Hmm. Nah, they're not milking it, man. It's making its money. Integrating one to another is just smart. If you got your Pokemon Go on your phone and you want to take it into a single player campaign, being able to transfer the Pokemon back and forth just seems smart, you know. If they didn't do it, then you get people that just gives people who've never played anything other than Pokemon Go to try a single player RPG. Like my wife doesn't give a shit about single player RPGs. She only likes multiplayer things and like WoW, and she likes Pokemon Go. But she's looking at that, she's like, "Huh, I want to try that," you know. So yeah, but you know, sustainable over time is better than peaks and valleys, man. It's quite sustainable and profitable over time. So you're never gonna get people to be on board all the way through forever at peak numbers, you know. But it's another content. No, she's not using my Switch. Nope. I don't share. We really want Nintendo to be in a situation where they integrate content across their handheld systems and a mobile phone. So, you know, they can do the same for Virtual Console and shit. Can't. I'm certain they've already thought about that. You know, I don't think it'll break game mechanics. All right. So let's go here. And we need to save it. Butt kicking boots. See, guys, I used to do a whole cleanup pass. You know what I found out? The art looks more alive if you leave all this fucking junk in. A lot of it goes away once you color it anyway. Kind of a colossal waste of time. All right, everybody. The war line arts are done. All the other detail will just be done in color. I mean, I got to start the death line arts next, which will be sometime tomorrow or Saturday, depending on what's on my plate. Possibly Saturday, but we will start that. My dog needs me to let her out. She has to go to the bathroom, so I'm gonna go do that. I gotta go work on top secret stuff. I will be working on the Sonic commission probably tomorrow. I have to do some test stuff. I'm uncertain how I'm gonna ink it. You know, I have my traditional way, but I want a smoother line. I think so. I need to do some test stuff. I might stream that though. Might be fun. We're streaming if you guys want to check that out. So, but yeah. All right, everybody. I will be back soon. Thanks for hanging out. Peace. Peace, everybody. Shopsketchcraft.com. Peace. I'm out of here. I gotta go.